Hi, this is Patty D. Priest, and welcome to Educate Academy, brought to you by the Kentucky Academy of Technology Education. Today we're going to look at using add-ons in Google Forms, and then we're going to look a little bit at spreadsheets. All right, so to add an add-on, you're going to come over here to the three dots and click. Come down here to where the puzzle piece says add-ons. Now you'll notice there's a puzzle piece up here. That's where you'll actually access the add-ons, but to add them you have to come here. So I'm going to click, and it's going to bring up a list of all the add-ons that are available for Google Sheets. Now there's a whole bunch of them here, and when you click on one, so like Choice Eliminator, it's going to bring up an example and give you an overview. It's going to show you how it's rated. It's also going to allow you to add it. Now I've already added this to mine, so it only lets me manage it. You can also see different screenshots. You can decide whether or not you want to add it. So once you've added it, you're going to come over here, and we're going to look at in this form at how to use Choice Eliminator. Choice Eliminator allows you to eliminate choices as people choose them. Does that make sense? So this is a really simple example as what to bring to the party. So when a person or a parent accesses this form, they will choose, let's say they want to bring carrot sticks. And if in my Choice Eliminator I've asked only one person to bring carrot sticks, then that choice will be eliminated for the next person. And so that way I don't get everybody bringing apples or carrot sticks or whatever else is on my list. It spreads the options out, and so that you get a variety of choices for your party. So let's see how this works. I'm going to click on Choice Eliminator. I'm going to configure it. It's going to come up with a message. It's a note, basically says to use drop-down questions instead of multiple choice. It gives you better reliability. I'm going to close that. This is my only question, so I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click to create my Choice Eliminator for this question. So it takes a minute. It's going to flash creating, and then I'm going to come over here and configure it. When it pops up, I'm going to see each option for this question. And then next to each one, I can say, okay, I want 2 people to bring that. I want 3 people to bring popcorn. I want 2 people to bring grapes. We could do 3 on this one. All right. You'll notice that I'm done. I have this button here. If I hover over it, I can add a choice. I can get questions from the form, and this would only be if I've added a question. It's already pulled the question that I have. I can restore the choices if I want to reuse this form again, and then I can actually close this. Okay, so now when I send out this form, all of these choices are going to be there. So if I go to preview, okay, what would you like to bring? So I come down here and I say I'm going to bring popcorn. Okay, and I submit. Okay, so you notice when I come back to my form, I've got one response. And if I click here, I can actually see the response. Notice it says air pop popcorn, and so it's going to create this nice little chart for me. All right, let's say that I go back into my form to fill it out. And so I'm going to come up here to preview, and I'm going to choose something else. So let's say I choose air pop popcorn again, and I submit. Okay, I'm going to submit another response. What would I like to bring? Notice air pop popcorn is not there because I only wanted 2 people to bring that as an option. So this is a really great way not only to get stuff for your party, but it's a way that you can also set up parent-teacher conferences. You can put in time slots in there, and parents can actually pick the one that they want. If you're going to do it for parent-teacher conferences, you might want to require them to put in their name, just so you know who goes with what time. I used it for the actual Educate Academy registration, and so when you got to the point if you were getting only a no choice and not a yes in the drop down, that was because Choice Eliminator had reached the limit that I had put on there, and it might have. Okay, there's another add-on called Form Limiter, which allows you to set up some kind of a form where you would limit the form by either date and time or the number of people that have actually filled out the form. You can also do it with a spreadsheet value, but it actually gets a little more complicated that way. So we're just going to look at the other 2. Again, if I'd added it, I would have gone to my menu over here, gone down to add-ons and added it, but I already did that. So I'm going to come over here to my puzzle piece and go to form limiter. I'm going to set a limit. My options for this form are either to shut it off on a date or time, or I can shut it off by the number of form responses. Usually when you're doing an event, you want to limit it to a certain number of people because that may be all you have room for. And so you can click here and it says when responses are greater than, and so let's say I can handle 30 people. When the responses are greater than, I'm just going to put in the number, and then I can put in a custom message. I'm going to leave this one the way it is, and then it will email me as the form owner when the submissions are closed. And all I have to do is save and enable. And then as everybody fills out this form, it's going to go ahead and count the number of registrations, and when it is greater than 30, it's going to shut it off. When a person goes to open the form, they will get this message, and if they have any questions, they could contact me. So that's another add-on to Google Forms. And remember, add-ons allow you to do something with Google Forms or Sheets or Docs that it normally doesn't do. All right, another one that we're going to look at is form notifications. Again, you would add it. I already have it. There is a notifications when you submit a form. It does notify you that you've submitted the form, or you can put a note there. You can actually turn on notifications and it will send you a copy of the form, but maybe you want to send them something else with a specific message. This is a way to do it, and so you can configure notifications. And so I want it to notify the respondents, and notice that it just pops up to the one that says email. You can put in a subject, and maybe it's further information. Thank you for responding to the form. You are now registered. You should receive an email on or around this date that will have this information in it and whatever else you want. Once you're done, you click save, and it automatically sends out those emails for you. Pretty cool. One of the things that we found that when we do registrations for events is that people want to get this kind of information in an email, and so this is when I found this and actually started using it. All right, we're not going to look at any other ones. As I mentioned, I do have this Google site. It does have a list of add-ons for Google Forms as well as Sheets and Docs. Okay, so here is the data that I gathered as you filled out the form that I gave you in Google Classroom. With this data, for each question that you answered, whether it's an actual quiz or not, it takes the data of the responses and puts them into a graph format for you to see. And because this was an actual quiz, it is giving me the data of how many correct responses we got, and it's telling me here as well as below. For each question, you're getting an actual graph. This one was a fill-in-the-blank kind of question, a short answer, and so it interpreted these two as different answers, and this one was different because you did not capitalize the J, and so it's giving me that data there. You all got it right. Once I look at the data this way, I can also open the spreadsheet and look at it there. So here is my data, and you'll notice that it gives me a timestamp. I did collect the email addresses and I did collect your names, but I have hidden those columns. And in order to hide a column, all you have to do is select the column, come here and tell it to hide. Notice I can also do other things here. I can sort the column from A to Z or Z to A. I can look at all these different other things, including deleting or clearing the column. I can insert a column to the left or the right. I can cut the information out of the column. I can copy it, or I can paste some things in. So you've got some options here with this drop-down menu. If we wanted to take this information and we wanted to create a chart with it, I can select the data, including the header, and I can come over here and click on the Insert Chart, and it immediately creates a chart. It defaults to a column chart, and it puts information in all of these areas. And you can come over here in the data. Notice you're using row 1 as headers. It is pulling together column H, and you can customize the chart type. I can change it to different types here. I can look at the data range and change that, and I can come here and customize the style. I can customize the chart and axis titles. You'll notice here it tells me the title. I can change to whichever one I want. And I'm not going to take the time to go through and really make this the way I want it to be. I just want you to know that all of these things are here and you can go ahead and change them. All right. So we're going to close that. I'm going to move this chart over to the right. One thing I wanted to show you as well is you have these three little dots, which is a menu. Notice I can delete the chart. I can save this image and then import it into a Google Doc or a slide presentation. I can publish this chart. I can copy it. I can move it to its own sheet, and I can add some alternate text to it as well. Another thing you can do in the spreadsheet is, let's say I want to see an actual score, a percentage type score on each of these grades. What I can do is I can click here and I can insert a column to the left. So I'm going to put in the formula, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to start clicking, and every formula or function starts with the equal sign. And I am going to take this cell and I am going to I'm going to divide it by 25, and then I am going to multiply it by 100 to actually get a percentage. The reason I knew I could take the cell, it says 25 out of 25, but when I click on this, it really is only the value of 25. Or down here, it's really only the value of 20. And so I am dividing this value here by the number of possible points, which gives me a decimal, and to make it into a whole number, I am multiplying it by 100. And so once I've got this done, I can click on this cell, come over to the bottom right-hand corner, and when my cursor turns into a plus sign, I can drag this down, and it will copy that formula down to each cell so that it is relevant to that actual cell that it is multiplying it by. So now we have an actual percentage that we can do. We can also, take this data now and we can do a chart on it. We can calculate some other things. So one thing you might calculate is an average. So let's go ahead and put the word average here. Average is a function in Google Sheets. It's also a function in Excel. It works the same way. I'm going to put the equals, and I'm going to type the word average, and then I'm going to put a parentheses, and I want to average all of these grades. And so, whoops, I missed one. Actually, I missed a couple of them. I missed more. So I am actually going to pick this entire range and then put a parentheses around it, and it comes up with this number. Now I'm going to come back up here and copy this so I actually have a grade for every cell here. And it recalculated because, again, we're using the relative values of these cells. Now, I may not want that whole big long decimal. Up here I can format this. I can decrease the decimal places until I get 1 or 2. And I think I'll go for just 1. So there I have an average grade for this quiz. Okay, let's say that I wanted to get a sum of all of these. So we are going to click here. We're going to add all these up. It's not really something you do with grades, but let's go ahead and do it so we can see how this works. I'm going to hit equals, type the word sum, put the parentheses, and then I'm going to select all of the data that I want to add and put the closing parentheses, and I've got a sum of all those numbers. Let's count how many people had the right answer on this question. The actual formula we're going to use is count if, and we are going to put our parentheses, and we're going to count if this data range, and then we're going to put a comma, and then we're going to put a quotation mark, and I'm going to type in the right answer. And then I'm going to put a quotation mark again and close out my function, and it's going to tell me I got 13 right. We used the COUNTIF function when we were doing registration for these courses, and what we did was we counted the number of yes replies when you registered, and then we used that data in the form, and we went to our add-ons and used Choice Eliminator to watch the number in that cell in order to get the count and turn off that registration, which worked pretty well. Other things you can do in your cells, If you want to see the entire question, you can click here. There is a wrap feature. It's right here. I can just click and turn on the wrap. If I want to do all of them at once, I just have to select them, come over here, and again, I can do them all at once. Like in any other spreadsheet, I can select all of these. I can put borders on them. I can fill. If I want to make that a really pretty light blue, I can do that. All of those things you can do in Excel. If you've used Excel before, really you can do it here as well. We're not going to get into a lot of features in Google Sheets. This is really the basics of what you need to know. Well, let's do this. We will sort. And notice I can use the drop down. I can sort from A to Z, and it doesn't use the header row. And so it has put everything in alphabetical order from A to Z. There are add-ons for Google Sheets, and some of those are listed here. To get add-ons, you would come to add-ons and click on Get Add-ons. We'll probably do another class on Google Sheets and go into some of those different things. There isn't much on the Google certification for level 1 on spreadsheets. There's a little bit more in the level 2. That's it for today. You will see your assignment online, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.